allow me briefly to share my upbringing and background, which will help put into perspective the journey that has led me to this day. I was born in Kabarnet, in what was then Baringo district, at a very hostel where both my parents served. My father was a medical officer and my mother was a nurse. In fact, she's the first Africa-trained nurse in this country, Kenya. I lost my father at a tender age, and we were therefore raised by our mother, Mama Rosa Oyo. Though widowed early in life, my mother chose not to be defined by loss. She went on to live full, purposeful, and impeccable life, raising 6 children with unwavering strength and serving faithfully in the church in various capacities for many years. She handled her grief with much dignity, embodied resilience with grace, and instilled in values of honesty in work, fairness, accountability, and above all, the deep fear for God. Her life remains wellspring of strength and inspiration to me. As I navigate my own journey, which now includes widowhood, I draw courage from her example. Proof that even in face of profound loss, one can rise, rebuild, and live fully a meaningful life and serve others. I grew up in Game, in Siaya County, and in Migori, and I attended Ogande Girls High School in Homa Bay County. Later, I joined the Highland School in El.
Hey you.
I grew up in Game, in Siaya County, and in Migori, and I attended Ogande Girls High School in Homa Bay County. Later, I joined the Highland School in Eldoret for my A-levels before proceeding to the University of Nairobi for my Bachelor of Arts degree with education as option, specializing in geography, which exposed me to the environmental issues. After university, I taught geography and general paper at Highway Secondary School for 2 years, and later at Kenya High School for 13 years. I also served as education officer with the Ministry of Education in Jogo House. However, even as I focus on my career, I realized that being the partner of then a political activist and someone who would later be recognized as the father of democracy in Kenya, it came with very heavy price to pay. This including sacrificing my teaching career and having to raise my family single-handedly as a young mother for a long period of time, particularly in a hostile political environment. Much about it is in the public domain, so I don't want to dwell much about it. Honorable Chair and members, for most of my life, I have often found myself in peculiar spaces that needed bold voice, a voice to speak for those unable to speak for themselves, a voice of reason and reconciliation during critical make or break moments in our nation and in our continent. And just like the biblical example of Queen Esther, who did not stay silent but spoke out when it mattered and saved the whole nation, my life and work have been deeply affected by issues that inflict vulnerable populations across the great continent. I have done my best to speak out for them, all the platforms that have presented themselves to me. Allow me, Mr. Chairman, to mention a few of them. I have dedicated my life to advocating for empowerment of women in leadership and in governance. I founded the League of Kenya Women Voters to advocate for women's rights and expand participation in governance, and together with other reform-minded groups, we contributed to the push for affirmative action, which culminated in the creation of 47 women representative seats under the 2010 Constitution. Today, I'm humbled to serve as patron of the G7 Women Governors Advisory Council, working to retain and increase the number of elected women governors. I have participated in Commission of Status of Women held annually since the historic Beijing Conference in 1995, a forum review and evaluate the implementation and advancement of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. I have equally been passionate about girls' education because I firmly believe it is the most powerful investment we can make in our future, and through that, through Odinga Trust, we champion initiatives such as Linda Kesho. This is a program which addresses the issues of teenage pregnancies and early marriages, and also in support of integrating the young mothers who had already left school to come back to school. I've also been able to champion nutrition. In the year 2008 in New York, I hosted a high-level roundtable summit for First Ladies in Africa, effective solution and end maternal and child malnutrition, which led to the declaration to include nutrition as a global development agenda. I also spearheaded and launched the first African nutrition policy in Kigali, in Rwanda. I have been involved in several environmentally sustainable initiatives, including collaborating with the late Noble Lorraine Wangari Maathai and her Green Belt movement, and advocacy for such as tree planting. As a managing director of East Africa Spectre, an environmentally conscious clean energy company, I've championed the promotion, access to clean household energy solutions. Honorable Chair and members, how we manage or mismanage our environment will determine the quality of lives that we live. Through my work, I've seen devastating effects of environmental degradation, especially on vulnerable people in our society. There is lack and clear link between environment and our actions. Honorable Chair and members, I believe that this is a critical moment when we are presented with an opportunity to shape our environmental future. And if approved by this esteemed committee, I intend to do my level best to help stop killing our planet. I will pursue every specific and set priorities.
Nice like